Good day, everybody. Today we're going to tell you a tale of Scotland from the heart of Scotland, a tale ancient. It's called A Princess of the Land Under the Waves. When Norwind blows and the surface of the sea is clear as crystal, the beauty of the land under waves are revealed to human eyes. It is a fair country with green valleys through which flow silvern streams, and the pebbles in the bed of the streams are flashing gems of various hues. There are deep forests that glitter in eternal sunshine, and bright flowers that never fade. Rocks are of gold, and the sand is dust of silver. On a calm morning in May, the Fiends, who were great warriors in the ancient Scotland, being the offspring from the god and goddesses, were sitting beside the red carrick. Below the salmon moved slowly, resting themselves ere they began to leap toward the higher waters of the stream. The sun was shining bright. The sea was without a ripple. With eyes of wonder, the fiends gazed on the beauties of the land under waves. None spoke, so deeply were they absorbed. They saw silver sands and rocks of gold, the gleaming forests, the beauty of the flowers, and the bright streams that flew over their beds covered with flashing gems. As they gazed, a boat seen on the sea, and for a time the fiends were not sure whether it moved above the surface or below it. In time, however, as it drew near, they saw it was on the surface. The boats came toward the place where they sat, and they saw a woman pulled the others. All the fiends rose to their feet. Finn, the king of the fiends, and Gore, his chief warrior, had keen sight, and when the boat was still further off, they saw the woman had great beauty. She pulled the two others, which parted the sea, and ripples seemed to set in motion all the trees and flowers of the land under waves. Now the boat came quickly, and when it grounded onto the beach, the loveliest woman that ever eyes gazed upon arose out of it. Her face was mild and touched with a soft sadness. She was a stranger to the fiends, who knew well that she had came from afar, and they wondered whence she came and what her tidings she brought. The young woman walked toward Finn as she saluted him, and for a time Finn and all the fiends were made silent by her exceeding great beauty. At length Finn spoke to her. "You're welcome, fair young stranger," he said. "Tell us what tribe you're from, and what is the purpose of your journey to the land of the fiends." Softly spoke the woman, saying, "I am the daughter of the king under waves, and I shall tell you why I came here. There is no land beneath the sun which I have not searched for a Finn and his brave warriors." "Beautiful maiden," Finn said, "will you not tell us why you have searched through the lands that are far and near, seeking to find us?" "Then you are Finn, and no other," spoke the maiden. "I am indeed Finn, and these who stand near me are my warriors." It was thus that Finn made answer, speaking modestly, yet not without pride. "I have come to ask you for your help," said the maiden, "and I shall need of it very soon, for my enemy pursues me, even now." "I promise to help you, fair princess," Finn assured her. "Tell me who it is that pursues you." Said the maiden, "He pursued me over the ocean is a mighty and fearless warrior. His name is the Dark Prince of the Storm. He is the son of the White King of the Red Shields. He means to seize the kingdom of my father and make me his bride. But I have defied him, saying, Finn shall take me to my home, and he shall be my saviour. Great as is your prowess, you cannot fight and beat Finn at his heroic band. Oscar, the young hero and the grandson of Finn, spoke forth and said, Even if Finn were not here, the Dark Prince would not dare to seize ye. As he spoke, a shadow fell athwart the sea, blotting out the vision of the land under waves. The fiends looked up, and I saw the skyline of a mighty warrior mounted on a blue-grey steed of the ocean. White was his mane, and white its tail, the white of the foam that was driven from its nostrils and mouth. The warrior came swiftly across the shore, and as his steed rode forward with great fury, waves arose and broke around it. The breath from its panting nostrils came over the sea like gusts of tempest. On the warrior's head was a flashing helmet, and on his left arm a rigged shield. At his right hand he grasped a large, heavy sword, and when he waved it high, it flashed bright like lightning. Faster than a mountain torrent galloped his hearse. The fiends admired the great prince, for he was a great and mighty warrior who bore himself like a king. The steed came to land, and what it did say, the dark prince leapt from its back and strode up the beach. Finn spoke to the fair daughter of the king under waves and said, Is this the prince of whom you spoken? Said the princess, It is he, and no other. Oh, protect me now, for great is his power. Go, the old warrior, and Oscar, the youthful hero, sprang forth and placed himself between the dark prince and a fair princess. But the dark prince scorned to combat with him. He went toward Finn, who was unarmed. God made an angry at once. God was made angry at once. He seized a spear and flung it at the stranger. It didn't touch his body, but it split the red shield right through the middle. Then Oscar raised the spear and flung it from his left hand. It struck the warrior's steed and slew it. This was accounted a mighty deed in Ossens, one of the bard of the fiends, and the Father Oscar, celebrated in song which is still sung in Scotland. When the steed perished, Dark Princess turned around with rage and fury, and called forth 50 heroes to combat against him. Then he said that he would overcome all the fiends, and he'd take away the princess. Now a great battle was waged on the beach. The Dark Prince sprung upon the fiends, and fought with a fierceness of a great strength. At length Gore went against him. Both fought with their swords alone, and neither was seen before such a furious combat. Strong was the arm of gold, and cunning the thrust he gave, and as he fought on, his battle power increased, and at length he struck down and slew the Dark Prince. Nor was ever such a hero overcome since the day of the ocean giant was slain. When the Dark Prince was slain, the wind fell, and the sea was hushed, and the sun at evening shone over the waters. Once again the land under the waves was revealed in all its beauty. The princess bade farewell to all the fiends, and Finn went into the boat and went with her across the sea until they reached the gates of the land under waves. The entrance to this wonderful land is a sea cave on the far blue isle of the ocean. When Finn took leave of the princess, she made him promise that if ever she had need of his help again, he would give it to her freely and quickly. Not a year and a day went past, and then came a calm and a beautiful morning. Once again the fiends sat on a shore below the red carrack, grazing on the beauties of the land under waves. And as they gazed, a boat came over the sea, and there was but one person in it. Said Oscar, "Who comes hither? Is it the princess under waves? Land under waves once more?" Finn looked seaward and said, "No, it is not the princess who come hither, but a young man." The boat drew swiftly toward the shore. When the man was all called, he hailed Finn with words of greeting and praise. "Who are you, and whence you come?" Finn asked. Said the man, "I'm a messenger of the princess of the land under waves. She is ill and seems ready to die." Now there was great sorrow among the fiends when they heard the sad tidings. "What is your message from the fair princess?" Finn asked. Said the man, "She bids you to remember your promise to help her in a time of need." "I have never forgotten my promise," Finn told him, "and I'm ready now to fulfill it." Said the man, "Then ask Jeremy the hearer to come with me so that he may give hearing to the princess under waves." Finn made a sign to Dermot, and he rose and went down the beach and entered the boat. There the boat went out over the sea toward the fair blue isle, and it went swiftly until it reached the sea cave through which one must pass to enter land under waves. Now Dermot was the fairest of all members of the fiend band. His father was Angus the ever young, who conferred upon him the power to give healing for wounds and sickness. Jeremit had knowledge of curative herbs and life-giving waters, and he had the power by touching a sufferer to prolong life until he found a means to cure. Jeremit was taken through the sea cave out of fair blue oil, and for a time he sought not. So thick was the darkness, but he heard the splashing of waves against the rocks, and at length light broke forth, and a boat grounded. He stepped out and found himself on the broad, level plain. The boatman walked in front, and Jeremit followed him. They went on, and it seemed that their journey would never end. He saw a clump of red sprangman moss, and plucked some and went on. Ere long he saw another clump, and he plucked some more. The third time he came to the red moss clump, and from it he too plucked a portion. And the boatman still led on and on. Yet Jeremit never felt weary. At length he saw before him a golden castle. He spoke to the boatman, saying, "Whose castle is that?" Said the boatman, "It's the castle of the king under waves, and the princess lies within." Jeremy entered the castle. He saw so many courtiers with pale faces. None spake, all were hushed in silence with grief. The queen came to him, as she seized his right hand and led him toward the chamber in which the dying princess laid. Jeremy knelt beside her. Already touched her. The power of his healing entered her veins. She opened her eyes, and as soon as she beheld him of the fiends, she smiled a sweet smile, and all who were in the chamber smiled too. "I feel stronger already," said the princess to Jeremit. "Great is the joy I felt to behold you, but a sickness has not left me yet, and I fear I shall die." "I have 3 portions of red moss," said Jeremit. "If you will take them in a drink, they will heal you, because they are the 3 life drops of your hurt." "Alice," the princess exclaimed, "I cannot drink of any water now except from the cup of the king of the plain of wonder." Now great Jeremit's knowledge, he had never heard of such a magic cup. "A wise woman has told that if I get 3 draughts from this cup, I shall be cured," said the princess. "She said also that when I drink, I must swallow the 3 portions of the red moss from the wide bare plain. The moss of healing you have already found." "Oh, Jeremit, But no man shall ever gain possession of the magic cup of the king of the plain of wonder, and I shall not therefore get it, and I must die. Said Jeremy, there is not in the world above the sea, or the world below the sea, a single man who will keep me from the cup. Tell me where dwells the king of plain of wonder, at his palace far distant from here. No, it is not far distant, the princess told him. The plain of wonder is the next kingdom to that of my father. The two kingdoms are divided by a river. You may reach that river, but you'll never be able to cross it. Said Jeremy, I now lay healing spells upon you, or you shall live until I return with a magic cup. When he had spoken thus, he rose up and walked out of the castle. The courtiers who had been sad when he entered were merry as he went away. Those who had never been silent spoke one to another words of comfort and hope, because Jeremy had laid healing spells upon the princess. The king and the queen of the land under waves bade the healer of the fiends farewell, and wished him a safe and speedy journey. Jeremy went alone in the direction of the plain of wonder. He went on and on until he reached a river of which the princess had spoken, and he walked up and down the river bank, searching for a ford, but he could not find one. I cannot cross over, he said aloud. The princess has spoken truly. But as he spoke, a little brown man rose up out of the river. Jeremy, he said, you are now in sore straits. Said Jeremy, indeed, I am. You have spoken wisely. What would you give to one who would help you in your trouble? Whatever he may ask of me. All I ask for you, said the brown man, is your goodwill, and you give it freely, said Jeremy to him. I shall carry you across the river, said the little man. Oh, you cannot do that. Yes, indeed I can. He stretched forth his hands, and he took Jeremy onto his back and walked across the river with him, treading the surface of his hard ground. And as they crossed the river and passed an island over which hovered a dark mist. What island is that? Jeremy said. Its name, the Brahmin told him, is the cold oil of the dead. There is a well on the island, and the water of it is healing water. And as they reached the opposite bank, the Brahmin said, you are going to the palace of the King Iron of Wonder Plain. I am. You desire to obtain the cup of healing. That is true. May you get it, said the brown man, who thereupon entered the river. Ere he disappeared and he spoke again, and said, hope now you where you are now. In the kingdom of the plain of wonder, Jeremy said. That is true, said the little brown man. There's also a land under mountains. This river divides land under mountains from land under waves. Jeremy was about to ask a question, but he could speak a little before the brown man vanished before his eyes. A sip of water. Jeremy went on and on. There was no sun above him, and yet all the land was bright. No darkness ever came to the land of the mountains. And there is no morning there, and no evening, but always endless day. Jeremy went on and on until he saw a silver castle with a roof as gleaming crystal. The doors were shut and guarded by armed warriors. Jeremy blew a blast of his horn and called out, open and let me in. A warrior went toward him with a drawn sword. Jeremy flung his spear and slew the warrior, and the doors of the castle were opened, and King Iron came forth. Now who are you, and whence you came you? He asked sternly. I am Jamert, was the answer he received, son of Angus the ever young. You are welcome, exclaimed the king. Why did you not send a message that you are coming? It is sorrowful to think you have slain my greatest warrior, said Jeremy. Give him to drink of the water in the cup of healing. Bring forth the cup, the king called. The cup was brought forth, and the king gave it to Jeremy, saying, there is no virtue in the cup unless it is placed in the hands of either Angus or his son. Jeremy touched the slain warrior's lips with the cup. He poured a drop of water into the man's mouth, and the man sat up. Then he drank all the water in the cup, and rose to his feet, strong and well again, for his wounds had been healed. Said Jeremy to the king, I have come hither to obtain the cup, and will now take it with me and go away. So be it, answered the king. I give you the cup freely, but remember, there is no longer any healing in it, for my mighty warrior had drunk the magic water. Jeremy was all too well pleased when the King of Wonder spoke thus. No matter, he said, I shall take the cup with me. I will send a boat to take you across the river and past the cold oil of the dead, the king said. Said Jeremy, I thank ye, but I have no need of a boat. May you return soon, the king said with a smile. And I believed that Jeremy would not be able to cross the river or pass the cold oil of the dead. Jeremy bade the king farewell and went away as he came, all alone. He went on and on until he reached the river, and then he sat down, and gloomy thoughts entered his mind. He obtained the cup, but it was empty. He had returned to the river, and he could not cross it. Alas, exclaimed aloud, my errand is fruitless. The cup is no use to me, and I cannot cross the river. I must near return in shame to the king of the wandering plain. But as he spoke, the little brown man rose out of the river. You're again in sore straits, Jeremy, he said. Indeed I am, answered the son of Angus. I got what I came for, but it is useless, and I cannot cross the river. I shall carry you, said the little brown man. So be it, Jeremy answered. The little brown man walked over the river with Jeremy on his shoulders and went toward the Isle of the Dead. Whither are you carrying me now? Asked Jeremy with fear in his heart. Said the little brown man, you desire to heal the daughter of the king under waves. That is true. Your cup is empty, and you must fill it to the wellspring of healing on the cold oil of the dead. And for that, I'm carrying you toward the isle. Hold it. Crap. Isle of the dead, and that is why I'm carrying you toward the isle. You must not get off my back or set foot on the shore, else you'll never be able to leave it. But have no fear. I shall kneel this down beside the well, and you can dip the cup in it and carry off enough water to heal the princess. Now Jeremy was well pleased to hear these words, for he knew that the little brown man was indeed his friend. He obtained the healing water in the manner that was promised, and when the little brown man carried him to the opposite bank of the river, he set him down on the border of the land under waves. Now you are happy-hearted, said the little brown man. Happy-hearted indeed, Jeremy answered. Ere I bid you farewell, I should give you good advice, said the little brown man. Why have you helped me as you have done? Jeremy said. Because your heart is warm, and your desires to do good to others, said the little brown man. Men who do good to others will ever find friends at the land of the living and in the land of the dead, in the land of the waves, and in the land under mountains. Oh, thank you, Jeremy said. Now I'm ready for your good advice, knowing your friendship is true and lasting, said the little brown man. You may give the princess water from the cup of healing, but she will not be cured unless you drop into the water 3 portions of the moss. I've already found these portions on the broad level plain. That is well, said the other. Now I have more advice to offer you. When the princess is healed, and the king will offer you a choice of reward, take no thing he offers, but ask for a boat to convey you home again. I will follow your advice, Jeremy promised. Then the two parted, and Jeremy went on and on until he came to the golden palace of the king under waves. The princess welcomed in, and he brought into her room, and she said, "No man ever before was given the cup you now carry." Said Jeremy, "For your sake, I should have got it, even if I had a fight in an army. I feared greatly that you would never return," sighed the princess. Jeremy put the cup of healing, the 3 portions of the blood of red moss which he had found, and bade the princess to drink. Thrice she drank, and each time she swallowed a portion of the red moss. And when she drank the last drop, having swallowed the 3rd portion of the red moss, she said, "Now I am healed. Let's feast and be ready, or I shall sit at the board of you." There was a great joy and merriment in the castle where the feast was held. Sorrow was put away, and music was sounded. And when the feast was over, the king spake to Jeremy and said, "I would fain reward for you hearing me daughter, the princess. I should give you as much silver and gold as you desire, or you should marry my daughter and become heir to my throne." Said Jeremy, "If I marry your daughter, I cannot return to my own land." "No, you cannot again return, except on rare and short visits. But here you will spend happy days, and everyone shall honor you," said Jeremy. "The only reward I ask for, O king, is a small one indeed. I promise to give you whatever you're asking for." Said Jeremy, "Give me a boat so I may return again to my own land, which is very dear to me, and to my friends and kinsmen, the fiends whom I loved, to Fiend Maccool, the great chief of men." "Your wish is granted," the king said. Then Jeremy bade farewell to all who were in the castle. And when he parted with the princess, she said, "I shall never forget ye, Jeremy. You found me suffering and gave me relief. You found me dying and gave me back my life again. And when you return to your own land, remember me, for I never shall pass an hour of life without thinking of you with joy and thankfulness." Jeremy crossed the level plain once again and reached the place where the boat in which he came lay safely moored. The boatman went into it and seen the oars, and Jeremy, I don't know why you just called him Jeremy, went into after him. Out of the boat sped through the deep, dark tunnel, where the waves splashed unseen against the rocks, and passed out of the cave on the shore of the far blue isle. The boatman went speedily across the sea, and while it was yet far off, Finn saw it coming. Our Finn gathers on the shore to bid Jeremy welcome. "Long have we waited for you, son of Angus," Finn said. "What time has passed since I was away?" asked Jeremy, for it seemed to him that I has been absent for no more than a day and a night. "7 long years have passed since we bade you farewell," Finn told him. "We feared greatly that you would never again come back to us," said Jeremy. "The lands I visit there is no night, no change in year. Glad I'm returned home once again." And then they all went to Finn's house. A great feast was held in the honor of Jeremy, who brought back with him the cup of healing which he had received from the king of the wandering plain. Now that was a story. Thank you for staying by and listening in. Hope you all have a good day.